when I first did it, I started live and then I had to start over because I didn't have my camera oriented the right way. So now I have it oriented the right way. So it should be good. This is my first YouTube live, so excuse the awkwardness. Later on I'll edit it maybe. Okay. Not perfect, but it will work. There. I'm just going to wait for a minute. Pull it up on my computer real quick. So if people are commenting, I can see. I had to start over. Okay. I am learning and I will grow and it will get better. And down the road, I'll look back at this and laugh at myself. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're losing out on a lot of good material. All right, I found my live video on YouTube. So now I can see what you see. And I'm gonna see if getting some light here helps at all with that shadow. It does. There, okay. And I don't see that anyone is, oh, one is watching. If you are watching, could you please leave me a comment? I want to see if I can actually see the comment. Meanwhile, I'm going to share this to Facebook in my group. I think a lot of the demonstrators that are bigger on YouTube might have a moderator, someone that helps them with this part of it, but I'm not there right now, so. How? Yeah, hello, Kelly. I see your comment. Hooray. I'm so excited. Now it says I have 2 people watching. So I see Kelly, because she left me a comment. So if you joined, could you say hello in the comments? Meanwhile, I'm trying to adjust my grid paper. Okay. I don't know why it's so dark. I don't like that. Not sure why it's so dark. Okay. That's not helpful. Anyway, I don't know why it's so dark, but all right, I am going to, good morning. It is Saturday morning, the first Saturday of November. The weather in Wisconsin has been wet and dreary. So what a better time to stamp than when it's wet and cold outside. I was looking on YouTube yesterday and watching a bunch of techniques. I am really not fond of how this looks. Oh well, I just need to move on. Okay, and I came across a technique called stack and shuffle. There are several demonstrators on YouTube who are showing it. So if you like it, you can go see it done with different kinds of paper. But I pulled out some retired paper, and it was this really cute gingerbread paper. And then this paper was in the Holiday Mini last year in 2021. And it had, you could buy a stamp set to go with it and a bundle. And it was in a bundle with some dies. And it was a lot of fun to play with. And I just loved it so much. I used up every bit of it that I had. But my stamp set and my dies were on back order for the longest time, and I didn't really get to use them very much, so I went ahead and kept them. Usually I let go of products when they retire, but I didn't really get to use these very much. So I held on to them, and recently at a Stampin' Up! Demonstrators clearance sale, I picked up a little bit more of this paper to play with. So that's why I have it, and you can use any DSP you want. I'm using DSP that comes in a 6x6 pack. So these are 6x6 inches. You can certainly start with 12x12. It doesn't matter. Or you can pull out DSP from your stash that's already ready to go. So we're going to start off by cutting the paper. So we're going to get the trimmer out. And, my trimmer's upside down. So we're going to get the trimmer out. And this technique is called stack and shuffle. So I'm going to take my 4 pieces of DSP, and you want to make sure they coordinate, but you want 4 different patterns, and then they have different patterns on the back. Even if you have two different patterns, you flip it over, then you'll have 4. So whether you're using 6x6 or 12x12, you just want to make sure you have a total of 4 different patterns. So the first thing we're going to do is get this paper ready for the stack and shuffle by trimming it down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to trim the 4-inch side first because I want to have a 6-inch piece left when I'm using my 6x6 paper. And the reason for that is this will make a really cute embellishment on an envelope flap. This is not actually part of the technique. I'm just going to set that aside. Okay. And look, I can cut through all 4 sheets of paper. I have a sharp blade on here. If your blade doesn't want to do that, then just cut 2 at a time or 1 at a time, whatever you're more comfortable with. But with my sharp blade, I can actually cut through all 4 pieces. So then I'm going to do 5 1/4. So you cut your paper at 4, and then rotate it and cut it at 5 1/4. Okay, and then you have this little piece of paper that you can use inside your card or wherever you want. So we have that. So now we have our 4 pieces of DSP cut at 4 by, you know what, I need to pull my trimmer down. All right, so we cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. So if you're crafting along with me, let me know in the comments if you're ready for the next step. Because we're going to keep our trimmer out and we're going to keep our paper ready. Okay. Now I shared this to Facebook, and I don't know if you're watching it on Facebook or on YouTube, but if you're watching it on Facebook and trying to talk to me, you're going to need to click on the video and go to YouTube because that's where I'm going to see your comments. All right, so now we're going to take our paper and we are going to cut it at 2 on the 4-inch side. So I have my paper portrait orientation. I'm going to slide it over to 2 3/4. Okay, so 2 3/4, which is that line there before a 1/4 inch before the 3. So we got 2 3/4. I want to make sure my paper is lined up. Okay, here we go. 2 3/4. Okay, get it in a trimmer. And like I said, if you're more comfortable cutting 1 sheet at a time, that's fine. Okay. And then we're going to cut. So now you have this piece and this piece. All right. We're going to take the skinny piece of paper that we have here, and we're going to cut that at 2 inches. So I'm getting it all lined up again. Okay. I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. It's so funny because I just did this and I did not struggle with it at all. And not right now, I'm like, I don't know if I'm nervous or what, but I'm struggling. Okay, so 2 inches. Okay, and cut. So now you have this, right? And we're going to set those aside and come back to this stack of paper. We're going to turn it the long way. Okay, and we're going to cut that at 3 inches. So let's line this up. You know, maybe I would have done better at the bottom of my trimmer instead of trying to do it at the top because it's so far away from me. Okay, so 3 inches. There we go. Lined it up. Okay, and cut. So this is what you have. Four pieces of paper. All right. So let me know when you're ready for the next step. I'm just going to set these aside. I'm going to put my trimmer away. Okay. And then I'm going to bring my paper over. We've done the stack part. So now we're going to do the shuffle part. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper and you're going to stack it in the similar pattern. So all the same. You have 4 pieces, 4 different size pieces for each pattern. And I have mine stacked from largest piece of paper to the smallest piece of paper. There we go. So this kind of makes me feel like I'm playing a card game, which I love. So we got card games going on. Okay. All right. So we have that ready. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take in this first pile, you're going to take the smallest piece of paper and you're going to slide it underneath. Okay. And then the second stack, you're going to take the first 2 pieces of paper, 1, 2, and you're going to slide those underneath. And then the third stack, you're going to take the first 3 pieces of paper and you're going to slide those underneath that large one. And then you're going to leave these alone. So I'm going to scoop these up here. My little stacks are shuffled and ready to go. And I should show you what the end result is going to be before we put it together. Okay? So that is the pattern that we're making. With the paper. Okay, so you can see we're going to have the largest piece of paper on the top, and there's a little 1/8 inch border around each piece of paper. So you have the large piece on the top, and then you have the second piece on the bottom, the smallest one on the upper right corner, and then the longer one on the lower left corner. And then because I cut up 6 by 6 paper, I used it on my envelope, and I used a piece of it inside my card. Now I cut my paper a little bit differently for this, so I'll show you what that will look like on the envelope and the card at the end. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take, I didn't have a card base ready. How funny. I'll just pull card base from up here. Let's see if I have an appropriate color. I might not. know what? I'll use a black one. That's fine. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to use, you know what? No, I'm going to cut paper because I'm going to need 4 card bases. So, excuse me while I cut card bases that I should have already had done before I started this video. You're going to need 4 card bases. So I'm going to get out my thick white cardstock, which I love using for card bases. And I'm going to cut them, cut and score. And I always like to score my cardstock before I cut it. So I'm going to do 4 1/4 score line, and then turn and cut at 5 1/2, and that gives me 2 card bases. Okay, and then I'll do one more 4 1/4 score. Make sure you are going to score and not cut, because I have done that before and it's very sad when you cut your paper and you meant to score it. And then 5 1/2 cut. All right, so that didn't take too long. I have my card bases now. So I'm going to pull out my card base. Okay. Line up the corners here. I'll just do a finger press. Okay. So the top piece here is this long piece. So we're just going to tape it down here in the right corner, the bottom right corner. So I'm using Stampin' Seal. I have fallen in love with this adhesive. It just takes a gentle touch. If you push too hard, you can really mess it up. So that's my tip for you with the Stampin' Seal. Light touch. Okay, and you want to leave an 1/8 of an inch border around that piece of paper. There we go. So then we go to the next stack of paper, and you have this smaller piece, and it's going to go right here. And you can use the other side if you want. It's whatever you think looks good. So for this one, I'm going to use the candy side of it. Okay, and just get that little border between, a little gap. And you're just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. No stress in stamping and sealing. Okay, so now you're going to take your longer piece of paper. You want it to fit up and down this way. Okay, or you could use this side, and I'm still going to go ahead and stick with this. Okay. So by the way, I'm drinking a breakfast blend coffee that I really love from Quick Trip with a splash of maple syrup and half and half, and it makes me so happy. Okay, and then you can use either side here. That's a little too much red for me, so I'm going to use this side. Now this is a great card to mass produce some Christmas cards or any kind of card. You can make 4 at a time because that's how much you cut for the stack and shuffle technique. And that's really cute, just like that. It'll make a beautiful note card, just like this, and then have something to write in. Because I have this paper left over from my 6x6, I'm going to go ahead and pull a piece out and stick it in my card. I'm going to stick it this way, or this way, or this way. And I'm thinking I'm going to go this way. And just for a little bit of fun, why am I using these? I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Snips and make a little flag. And I think I'm going to put it right there like that. So we'll just put that little flag on the inside. And this card is ready to be embellished. And I can pull in an envelope. And that other piece of paper left over from my 6x6. I'm going to stick with the same pattern here that's on the inside of my card. And the way I do this is I'm going to center it on my flap, because you see there's a little bit of flap here. Or I could go all the way up, but then this would be showing. I could trim that off though. Okay, so we're going to put some adhesive on the flap. Now this is only if you're using, if you started with 6x6 paper. If you didn't start by it with 6x6 paper, then you can just cut some more paper to go on your envelope and in your card if you like that look. But we like to use up our paper so that we can buy more paper, right? I'm just going to trim this off because I don't really want it to hang below my DSP. And then I'll go over here and cut this. And now, how cute is that? And it goes with the card. All right, so let's pull in our next one. Get our next card base ready. And we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to change up what side of the papers we use so that we can get a different look. Okay? So, I'm going to use this side this time. We're starting off with the small piece of paper this time. That's what's on top. So we're going to start off with a small piece of paper. Okay. Next time I do a YouTube video, I'm going to have the camera a little bit higher and I'm going to have better lighting. So this is my learning experience. And if you're watching and have some tips for me, I would appreciate any tips that are helpful to help me to get better at this. Okay, so we're going to put that little piece down here in the corner with our little border around it. And now the next one is a larger piece, so I can use this side or this side. I'm going to go with the gingerbread looking side this time. I like the stack and shuffle because I don't have to think too hard about what I'm doing. I'm just going to go along with the randomness of the stack and shuffle. It takes the stress out of making these cards. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to go with the flow. Obviously, I don't want that. So this is going to stay on the candy side of the paper. And I love projects sometimes that I don't have to think too hard. I can just enjoy the making aspect of it. Okay, and then we have our long strip, which can go here. And I'm going to go with the green side on this again. Only because there's a lot of red. I would have chosen a different piece of DSP, but I only had a few pieces left to choose from. So that's what happened there. And that's okay. It's working out. Okay. And then I'll get my scraps. Here we go. We got this one, this little scrap for my little flag. For the inside of my card. And at the end I will show you a completed card that is embellished so that you can see what it could look like at the end, because if you want to add more to the card, you definitely can. There's lots of ways to step this card up. I like the simplicity of it, but I know as crafters we like to get a little crazy sometimes, so, and that's fine. So here's my envelope. I will do my envelope later. But there's that one. So now I've got two, and they look different from each other. Okay. All right, number 3. Yay, Kelly is crafting along with me. That is awesome. I hope that I am keeping a good pace and not too fast or too slow, because I don't want anyone to get bored or get left behind. That's the purpose of this video, is that people can craft along with me. All right, so here we go. We got our largest piece first this time. Ooh, I'm going to use this stripy side. So remember, the largest piece is going to go the long way, because you need to have room for your strips of paper. Okay? I almost glued it on wrong. That would have been a bummer. Okay, so there we go. Our next piece is this little one, and this little one is going to go up here. Or we could use the brown side. I'm going to use the colorful side of it this time. Okay. And then we are to the longer strip. I left my border a little wide over here, but I am not going to worry about it. The card is still going to be cute. And then we'll have this side or this side. I'm really liking that green. I think I just like the green side better. Okay. There we go. And there's our third one. And then we have one more. So this is what you should have left. All right, we're going to start with our little guy this time. There we go. And then we have our strip of paper. I'm going to go with the gingerbread side of it. When I started this video twice. The first time I started it, I didn't realize I had to have it in landscape orientation before the video started. And so it wouldn't let me flip it around. So I had to start over because I needed more space than that. All right, then we have our long piece, which will go up here. And now I'm liking that pattern, so I'll go ahead and use that pattern this time. And here. Yeah. So if you made these cards, you'll have a good time embellishing them. I will show you how I did mine. I often have leftover tags and things from other projects, and I had spent some time fussy cutting and die cutting the paper, so I have a pile of, excuse my arm, I have a pile of the trees, and I have a pile of the ornaments, and and then I had a pile of the snowflakes. This is all from that gingerbread, that retired gingerbread paper. So now I'm actually using it up because I don't have much left after cutting it up for this. And then I die cut all of these little circles out, the little candies. So these are great because I can have them just to embellish with. I'll just push those out of the way. Then I also had my festive pearls to play with. And I had these glitter tags cut out with the deckled layer dies. And this is what my final card looks like. I put a little ribbon up here and little candies, little pearls on top, and I actually could stamp on the white glimmer paper. And I love the way it looks. It looks like sugared candy. And then I haven't stamped on the inside yet because I don't know what I want it to say. And that's what I normally do. And then this envelope has paper there. And I stamped in an ornament on the front to go along with that. So that is our coffee and a card. I hope that I will get into a cadence of doing this every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And my purpose is for you to be able to grab a cup of coffee and stamp along with me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a blessed November full of things to be thankful for. Happy stamping.